Hello, YouTubers. This is Robert95 here with Magic the History, The Gathering Dark. Sorry I'm a little late. I got preoccupied and work and whatnot. So I'm going to do a brief overview of The Gathering Dark, and it's just another piece of the lore of Magic the Gathering. The Gathering Dark starts off at the end of the Antiquities War, or near the end of the Antiquities War. The Brothers' War. I shouldn't say near. It's like it's a while later. Anyway, in the world after it's like and if it went by set, it would be the Dark. So it's like the Dark going into the Ice Age type thing. It's in this setting, because of Urza and Mishra, the world now fears mages and wizards and whatnot. So this, I guess, kind of akin to like the Catholic Inquisitions or Christian or whatever you want to call it, Inquisitions of the Middle Ages and whatnot. A religious superpower rises called the Church of Tal, and they start purging the world of mages and things like that. They have their inquisitors and they send them out, and they purify the sinners by basically cooking their brains and then burning them at the stake. So the story follows Joda, who is the grandson of Jarsel, who is the son of I believe he's the son of Urza. He's Urza's son. So he's a up and coming mage who gets basically chased around by the Church of Tal. It tells you in this point of the story that at one point it also deals with Ith, and it discusses the maze and whatnot, and how Ith is imprisoned in the conclave of wizards, and he's being imprisoned by his apprentice. I think it's Mercil is how you pronounce it. I'm not sure how you pronounce it off the top of my head. And Mercil's trying to unlock the gate to Phyrexia in the caves of Koilos. But he doesn't know how, and Ith is the only one who does. So, of course, Joda finds his way to the conclave. Mercil finds out he's Jarsel's descendant, who's descendant of Urza, so he's got the blood of Urza. So he tries to get him to open the gate to Phyrexia. So you can see how Phyrexia is a constant theme in Dominarian history up until the fall of Halcyon at the hands of Yawgmoth and the Phyrexians, and the eventual banishment to Phyrexia by Urza. They've been trying to get back, and in the invasion cycle they have these great crab-like portal devices that open rifts in space-time from the plane of Wrath, actually, into Dominaria. Which is, I'm reading that book cycle right now, but hold on a sec. Anyway, so the conclave, the wizards are in the dark are relegated to basically communes, conclaves, universities, where they gather up. There's the City of Shadows, which is more I guess more like the thinking man's things. It's like if a bunch of Vidalkins ran a wizard school. They're all about logic, and it's almost like the Synod. Or the seat of the Synod, the Lumengrid. There we go, Lumengrid from Mirrodin. So, and then the and then the Conclave of Wizards is more of the kind of rebel outcasts. The people who don't want to follow any kind of rule. They want to learn themselves, and they want to learn everything. Like in the story, Joda starts off trying to learn red magic, but he discovers that he's actually a white wizard. But then he also starts learning red and black mana, and he eventually learns all 5 colors of the wheel, spell-wise. Yeah, so they're all in these little areas. In the Conclave of Wizards, Ith is imprisoned under the Conclave, and his apprentice is drawing power from him through a cage, magical cage of some kind. Eventually, though, the Church of Tal does find him. They do end up destroying the Conclave for the most part, but Joda actually ends up, he's summoned by to the Conclave. I kind of left that out. He's by someone called the Ragman, which is someone Ith summons to help him get freed. Eventually, the Ragman dies, and it's actually a really good book. You should read it. It's by Jeff Grubb, The Gathering Dark. It's the Ice Age Cycle, Book 1. Anyway, the Church of Tal attacks the Conclave. Ith is freed. He, because of being trapped in a cage for like 10, 15 years, he's gone insane, and he kills his apprentice, and ends up doing all sorts of. He becomes uninsane basically. But it's weird. It's a really good book, and I'm ranting, and I've lost track of where my train of thought was. But so yeah, it takes place in the dark, and basically people are afraid of magic at this point in time. Things are getting colder, days are getting shorter. This is basically all the fallout from the Brothers' War, the Antiquities War, as they call it in there. They reference the Sarpadian. There's the books of Sarpadia and the Argavian texts and things like that. An Argavian scholar does these little, excerpts about the chapter, and they discuss Jonah's connection to Urza, and I think Urza actually eventually comes back at some point. It's really weird. The whole Urza, I know he's a planeswalker, and he's not a planeswalker in the sense that we know it, because the planeswalkers that we know him as we know him now are basically neutered. They're nowhere near as powerful as Urza or Nicol Bolas. I mean, even Jace and Tezzeret and Liliana, they're nowhere near as powerful as Lord Windgrace, as Urza, as Nicol Bolas, as anyone else. It's insane how powerful these people are, and they pretty much live forever. But we'll get to all the other stuff too when I start reading like the plane shift, the planar chaos stuff, and all the things that Nicol Bolas does. But anyway, yeah. So the Ice Age is coming. This is the dark. Things are weird. People fear wizards. The church has gained a lot of power. There's these weird plagues that keep happening. But one thing they allude to too is the church. They perform these miracles. They're blessed by their god. They sing these hymns to purify the sinners and whatnot, and they can create flaming swords. And they're thoroughly against magic. But at one point, one of the I don't know, we'll call her cardinal. I don't remember what they call them, and they're like pontiff or something like that. Anyway, she goes to speak to one of her superiors, and when she leaves the meeting, the scribe that's with the superior asks the I don't know what you want to call him, the pope or whatever he is, does she know? And he kind of chuckles to himself, because he knows that their crusade against magic is kind of contradictory, because they aren't, inciting the powers of their god, they're using magic. The hymns are spells being recited, they're gathering mana through it and things like that, and they're just, they're doing this whole blinders thing with their priests and their inquisitors and stuff like that. So anyway, it's a really good book. I do appreciate you sitting through my ranting and raving. I've got a couple more videos coming up. It will be, so far, what I'm going to post, just random cards I've gathered together so far for my, I don't know if it's going to be an Animar or Riku yet. I just saw Mr. Anonymity Trades comment. I do want to, he's got a propaganda and a Riku. I may end up doing a Riku, because it seems like it should go Riku. But I'm going to start posting it up and offer suggestions, lots and lots of suggestions. And then it's not, bear in mind, it's not a deck right now, it's just a big giant stack of cards. So it's just what I've been, I'll thumb through things and I have random ideas. So I pull the card out. So offer your suggestions, maybe tell me which way I should go. Maybe I can build a Riku and an Animar deck. So I'm trying to do the whole budget theme again, trying not to exceed maybe $15 per card. I ran some stuff past some friends of mine yesterday. Anyway, so thank you for joining me for Magic the History. Hopefully I can find the second book in the Ice Age cycle so I can do that. But I'm hoping to have another one in a couple weeks. Yeah, anyway, so rate, comment, and subscribe.